And he's back. Good evening to you, Samkele. Tonight you're focusing on service delivery.
Indeed, we are focusing on issues of service delivery in this week's edition. The ANC's gathering of 4,600 ward councillors turned out controversial when party president Cyril Ramaphosa praised DA-led municipalities for their performance, saying the ANC could learn from its GNU counterpart. Critics called it a PR misstep, while the DA is likely to amplify those particular remarks well beyond the 2026 local government elections. But until then, for many communities, party politics matter less than basics like water, electricity, and waste collection, all of which are the core responsibilities of municipalities. And yet, a report of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs shows service delivery remains a major challenge. The report shows that financial mismanagement is the root of the problem within municipalities. For instance, if you look out of the 255 municipalities, 225 meet the criteria of financial problems. Nearly 2/3 are in distress. 95 had budgets that exceeded expected revenue. 152 are bankrupt and 57 are in crisis. Meanwhile, 219 municipalities spent 1.7 billion rands on private consultants for financial statements considered for the report, and yet most of these statements contained errors. For instance, if you look at that report and that address by the president of the ANC on that particular day, he said that most of these municipalities get their financial audited statements done by private consultants, and in most cases, they are very flawed, they are wrong, and the AG always has adverse findings on these particular statements because they are always poorly compiled by these particular consultants, and some of them are not even finished at times.
And it begs the question, why use them to begin with?
Well, local government is losing billions of rands each year because of poor decisions, neglect of inefficiencies. From 2021 to 2024, municipalities incurred a total of over 17 billion rands in fruitless and wasteful expenditure. For instance, if you look at wasteful and fruitless expenditure, 2021-2022, that goes to 4.9 billion rands. 2022-2023, 7.46 billion rands. 2023-2024, 5.27 billion rands. In total, that is about 17.65 billion rands that have been wasted by municipalities. If we can just go to our previous slide before this one, which speaks about unfunded and unbudgeted projects that are done by municipalities. For instance, if you look at the 257 municipalities, unfunded budgets, 95, 37%. Financial distress, 168, that's 65 of them. There are some municipalities, particularly if you look at the white paper on the review of local government that has been rolled out by the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Ministry, which political parties have also made inputs. They've spoken about some municipalities. For instance, if I were to take Umgungundlovu district municipality and you go to a local municipality like Umshwati, which may, and I'm not saying it's not, which may end up not being financially viable because of the lack of economic development within that area. I'm not saying it is, because there are a lot of farms within that particular area which pay a lot of rates to the municipality. But there are some municipalities that have got no revenue base. For instance, if you look at the funding model of local government at this point in time, it is 80% generating its own revenue through tax collections and rates collections, then 20% funded by the national fiscus. And that is not financially viable, particularly for a rural municipality where there is no economic activity. If you were to compare it to a city of Johannesburg, to a Tshwane, to an Ekurhuleni, to a city of Cape Town, to a Mbombela, to a Mangaung, to a Buffalo City in East London, those will tell you that those particular municipalities that are in far-flung areas do not perform relatively well. Then you look at bankrupt and insolvent municipalities, 152, that is 59% of them. That will give you a municipality like Disobotle in the Northwest Province, which is heavily down because of political fighting within the majority party within that particular caucus, lack of service delivery. You look at companies such as Clover, who've decided to close shop within that municipality because the roads are bad, there's no water provision within that particular municipality. But then you go to the Jogabi district municipality within the Eastern Cape, in the Sengu local municipality, which always gets its financials right by the AG. They always get good audit findings by the Auditor General. And that just tells you, if a small municipality within that area can do very well, why do municipalities like eThekwini, metro municipalities that are failing to have proper financials and to deliver services? But you cannot just oppose good governance of having your books done in order, yet you go to Langa, to Kailicha, to Emzamu Yetu, to Delft, and it is deplorable socio-economic conditions. You go to areas such as Diepsloot, you go to Alexandra, it's deplorable socio-economic conditions which people should not be living under.
And of course, Samkele, as you paint that picture for us, it also tells us that stability is a huge concern as far as some of these municipalities are concerned.
Well, Bongiwe, to stabilize failing municipalities, 21 are currently under administration, and since the 2021 elections, 2 have been dissolved. The Disabotle municipality in the northwest stands out because it has been placed under administration 9 times since 2018. 9 times since 2018. That's Disabotle placed under administration. These interventions highlight deep-rooted corruption as well as financial mismanagement. These are the municipalities that are under administration. Mogalakwena, Walter Sisulu, Mahikeng. Northwest is just a province that is known for dysfunctional municipalities. During the era of Thandi Modise as premier, during the era of Supra, Black Jesus Muhammad, totally dysfunctional. Go to the era of the 2, Buemape, Bushimape. I forgot the other one who was an ANC veteran within that province. Then ultimately Nono Maloi. And now the current premier, John. And it just tells you that that particular province has a history of dysfunctional municipalities. You go to Madibeng municipality as well, it's got a plethora of problems which has issues dating as far back as Thandi Modise's premiership of lack of water provision within that particular municipality of Madibeng.
And of course there was Job Mogoro.
There was Job Mogoro as well, who was the premier of that province, brought in to try and rescue the province after the removal of Supra Muhammad. Then you go to Mangaung Metro Municipality, or Tambo district, Tswaying, you go to Tlologo, you go to Disobotle, Naledi, Enoch Mkichima, Madibeng, Marafong, Makana, Katleheng Refir, Beaufort West, Amatole. There's a plethora of these municipalities that are currently under administration, Bongiwe. Just recently, the municipality in Umsunduzi, the economic hub of the Umkunguluvi district, was also under administration. At this current point in time, they've brought in veteran expert within the municipal local government space, Mike Sutcliffe, to try and rescue that particular municipality of Umsunduzi, which for the past 8-7 years has gone through mismanagement, financial mismanagement, and bad governance and lack of service delivery within that particular municipality. Just recently, eThekwini as well, so Dr. Cassius Lubisi being brought in to try and revive that particular metro municipality, which the president brags about a turnaround of that particular municipality of eThekwini Metro. But Bongiwe, in recent weeks, law enforcement wrapped up probes into municipal corruption. This week, a whistleblower exposed allegedly 1.6 billion rands tender fraud in the Metro of Cape Town. Last month, the Metro of Ekurhuleni police chief was implicated in the Madlanga Commission, and the SIU secured a 69 million repayment order for a contractor fraudulently paid by the Mogalakwena municipality. And in Polokwane, investigators seized evidence allegedly linking the municipal corruption network. Despite these investigations, the wheels of justice still seem to grind slowly where rampant corruption is concerned. Independent political analyst Professor Kidiboni Pacho says the president is failing to act despite having the law and governance structures at his disposal. Let's just listen to this political analyst and what they had to say.
We are stuck because the Auditor General's reports, which the President himself is referring to, but has not taken any meaningful action that we have seen publicly as citizens. So he's just talking like any other citizen and not like a President of the Republic. Right. So in other words, whatever he's saying, nobody's taking attention to.
Well, Bongiwe, if you look at these particular failures of local government, many causes, including unstable leadership, poor decision making, outright negligence, outright negligence. But corruption stands out as the biggest obstacle. It drains resources, weakens institutions, and robs communities of the services they demand on and depend on. Until corruption is confronted decisively, even the best plans risk collapsing, leaving residents to once again carry the cost. As South Africans weigh up their choices ahead of next year's local government elections and amid mayoral candidate announcements, the numbers point is the hard truth. Municipalities will have to continue to fail and fall where mismanagement and corruption are allowed to take root. Bongiwe. If you look at the city of Cape Town, I want to stress this issue of the city of Cape Town, because the president speaks about good books of the Democratic Alliance in the city of Cape Town. But go to Lang, go to Delft, go to Mzamoyetu, and you compare it to Alexandra, to Diepsloot. There is no difference. The issue is how good you can present your books to the AG. But for the lives of ordinary people within those townships of Langa, of Nyanga, of Delft, of Mitchell's Plain, that does not make a difference to their lives. If you go to corruption allegations, they are everywhere. J.P. Smith, who was the MMC of Community Safety in the city of Cape Town, was raided. You've had Malusi Boy, who's been arrested, acquitted currently, but the National Prosecuting Authority are still investigating those cases. So corruption cuts across the board of all political formations. All political formations face similar allegations. And it is up to South Africans ultimately at the end to say who is the better devil to give us services and not only gloat about good books.
He's back again with you next week. Samkele Masego with Explain and Verify.